These are my differences between K1 Speed and F4. Having driven at K1 Speed for the better part of the last year, I can confirm that there are pretty much no longitudinal or lateral Gs to be felt, especially in comparison to F4. The G-forces aren't the worst part. The worst part, I think, is when the car is stationary in the pits, right before you leave. You're strapped up, it's all super tight, and with every passing minute, you're only getting like hotter and hotter because the engine behind you is cooking the car from the inside out. As soon as you start actually rolling in the car, it all goes away. I don't know if it's the wind that gets rid of the heat or if you just forget about it, but it's just gone. The pressure from the belts, I'm assuming it's because when you're actually going, your body is pushed into the seat a little bit more, so there's more room between your body and the belts. If your belts are even a little bit loose, you can be thrown around inside the car, which is not pleasant because I was thrown around and my arms still hurt from the headrest. The turning compared to K1 Speed, it's like a joke. It's a joke going back to K1 Speed. The amount of energy I spent turning the F4 car would render me inept to do any kind of physical activity after I finished driving. I would pick up a pen and I would not be able to write. I'd have to wait like 5 minutes to actually get my debrief notes down. While at K1 Speed, it feels like you literally have power steering the whole time. The braking is completely different too. You have to put a lot of pressure on that F4 brake pedal. I think I hit like a maximum of 75-80 bar on one of the corners versus K1 Speed where it's an electronic brake, so you just tap it and it stops, so huge difference. But the braking actually leads me on to my next point, which is the intricacy with all of the inputs. The brake, the throttle, the steering, where you're looking on track, all plays a huge part in whether you're fast, consistent, and safe. At K1 Speed, you can be really sloppy and still be fast. In F4, it's all about the braking shape. You can't be too progressive, especially in a hard braking zone, because then you lock up. Unlike K1 Speed, where for the majority of the session the track is flat out, you have to pick and choose the moments where you're flat on the throttle in F4. The K1 Speed tracks that I've been to have not had any kind of elevation change or track surface change. This track has everything: elevation change, camber change, curbs. You have to be mindful of all of that before even thinking of flooring it. The debrief and analysis of all of your telemetry from the session is incredibly important to know what you did wrong and what you have to improve in the next one. In F4, there are so many different variables that it's borderline impossible to get a perfect session or even a perfect lap. But with that being said, going from K1 Speed to Formula 4 is an incredible jump. I do not recommend it to anyone unless you have a lot of sim practice. The experience of driving in a F4 car will vary from person to person, but